Hello, YouTube. This is Charles the Destroyer. We're gonna watch How to Survive Victorian London by BlueJay. Grab your snackies, grab your bevies. Let me know what you're eating or drinking down below. Let's get to watching.
Do you ever watch Downton Abbey and find yourself thinking,
No, I don't watch Downtown Abbey. Downton Abbey. No.
I should have been born in the Victorian era?
I do not think that. Like, I love my creature comforts of today.
Well, you're stupid. Firstly, because Downton Abbey takes place 11 years after the Victorian era, silly goose. And secondly, because life in Victorian London would be absolutely terrifying for someone accustomed to the luxuries of the 21st century.
Correct.
But let's say you somehow end up in a free...
Listen, I need the plumbing system I have today, bare minimum. I'm gonna be honest. I don't go camping because I don't have, like, the creature comforts of my house when I go camping. There's also a lot of other reasons that I don't go camping, but that's like a big one. So one of the top ones.
Freaky Friday situation and switch bodies with a bona fide Victorian. How are you going to survive the London streets? Not to worry.
I'm
With
not.
my extensive background studying history, certified by my 90,000 Reddit karma, I'm here to teach you everything you need to know to survive the Victorian era. Alright, so you just finished your Disney Channel style body swap and have officially transported over a century back in time to Victorian London.
I'm going to die. That's it. I have been body swapped and I'm going to die. You think this is an isekai villainous story? I'm not making it, okay? Like, dead ass, if there's not magical stuff that gives me the same creature comforts as today, minus maybe the television kind of internet situation, but like plumbing and stuff, I'm gonna die. And if nothing else, I'm definitely going to die because I'm probably going to get some kind of sickness or disease. Okay? Like, I'm just going to die. I'm very aware of it.
Yeah. What? What is it, James? My body. What's happening? It looks like during the body swap you've received a lethal dose of gamma radiation. Oh, and your hairline is receding. My hair? Oh yeah, actually 2 out of every 3 guys will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35. But about that radiation.
Okay.
How do I keep it? Alright, weird priorities. Well, really the best way to combat hair loss would be with Keeps. It's a fantastic doctor-recommended online service that offers clinically proven treatment to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. They're customer-focused with a 24/7 care and support network of expert medical advisors and care specialists at the ready to help you with any questions you might have. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or honestly, if you just want to take better care of your hair in general.
Bash, I'm going to be 100%. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, it's none of my business, to be honest. And by business, I mean, like, my hair's already kind of thin, so it is what it is.
General, Keeps is perfect for you. They even got award-winning shampoo and conditioner. When's the last time you won an award? Never? I know. Here you go. Now for the radiation.
All right, then.
Well, at least they'll go out with luscious curls. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/BlueJay or click that link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/BlueJay. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring the video.
I would say do some of your own research to see if anything that these, like, things try to get you to buy is legit. Because, like, I know a lot of YouTube, like, I get a lot of YouTube ads for Better Health, probably because, like, my mental health is, like, all over the place. But, like, Better Health isn't, like, a good company. Like, they're not board certified. They're not really certified, honestly. So, like, be safe out there, guys.
Of course, Alex, you're gonna have to wait a few centuries until you've got internet again, as you're now in Victorian London. The city is booming from the results of the Industrial Revolution. The air is dense, but the stunning Gothic...
If I get reincarnated as an assassin from Assassin's Creed, I'm still gonna die. It doesn't matter. If I somehow go back in time, I'm dead. I don't care. Like, I'm dead. I'm not made to survive outside of the time frame in which I have grown up. Like, nope. No. It's over for me.
Survival architecture still manages to pierce through all the smog. It's a city of rapid expansion and expensive projects, starkly contrasted by the overflowing slums.
Yep.
But man, taking in all these new sights is really starting to make you thirsty. So you head on over to a well pump for a fresh sip of water. First mistake, what are you, crazy? You won't even survive a day here. You can't drink the water. Cholera outbreaks are about as common as an office quote in a Tinder bio. The booming population of London, combined with newly introduced indoor as common as an office quote.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. My personality is The Office. I think animator is a stretch. All right.
In a Tinder bio, the booming population of London combined with newly introduced indoor plumbing resulted in overwhelming amounts of
newly introduced. Oh my God, it's gonna be rough.
Raw sewage.
Yep.
This sewage ended up in the Thames River, which happens to be London's main source of drinking water, thus completing the circle of life. During one cholera outbreak, Jon Snow, a supporter of germ theory, looked at all
You know nothing.
this sewage in their drinking water and had the hot take of, hey, what if we drink water but without the poop? And ended the outbreak by ripping off the handle of a contaminated well pump. At the time, the community believed in the miasma theory, basically the idea that diseases were transmitted through foul odors. So government officials still rejected Snow's theory of fecal-oral transmission, stating, "Germs in the water? Don't be ridiculous. It was stinky air." And this wouldn't be the last time a Jon Snow's potential was shattered. So unless you want to die a painful death, I suggest boiling your water, or just stick to hard liquor, where the alcohol will not only kill any germs, but also help drown that regret you're starting to feel for wishing to be in Victorian London instead of shutting up and playing Wordle like a good little consumer. Alright, now that you're properly shit-faced, you're gonna need to pinpoint your social class so you know who you're allowed to interact with. But isn't who I am inside more important than some social
Absolutely fucking not. Not back then.
class? No! Simply talking to a social class higher than yours is enough to get you arrested here. Luckily, it's rather easy to find out which one you belong to. For example, are you over the age of 25 and alive? Then you're probably not in the lower class, as male tradesmen and laborers had life expectancies of 25 and 22 respectively. But let's say you find yourself a member of the respectable upper class. What can you expect from your newly found privileged life? Well, first off, you can kiss the thought of a hard day's work goodbye, because with the fortune your family has built over generations through certainly non-exploitive means, you'll never have to work a day in your life. So instead, you're gonna have to find out how to kill all this free time you got on your hands. Being a person with enough wealth to buy a handful of developing nations, or one GPU, you decide to use your money to give back to the poor.
What the fuck? $60,000 basically. Jesus Christ.
People whose blood, sweat, and Fossy Jaws helped you build your riches. So you buy tickets to next Tuesday's Freak Show. Freak shows were essentially the MCU of the Victorian era, loved by people of all ages and social classes, except for pretentious people who prefer more refined entertainment, like seances. Everyone from your average Joe to Queen Victoria herself loved to goggle and laugh at all the different looking people performing. These freak shows showcase people with physical abnormalities, such as dwarfs, conjoined twins, giants, fat people, thin people, hairy people, ethnic people, and whatever else they thought would pique people's curiosity. Gather round, folks, gather round! For I'm about to unveil the wonders of the world, realities beyond your comprehension, freaks from distant and foreign lands. Meet the man of hair, the precious Piper Pinky, and behold, Paul. I thought this was a freak show. Oh, trust me, Paul's a freak. However, the reign of freak show.
Have a conversation with him. You'll figure it out. You'll see. You'll see. So definitely, also, you have money, you could, I don't know, buy books and read. Those are probably expensive. What do I know?
Those came to an end as reports of mistreatment of the performers came to light, and the public was furious to find out that the people they went to laugh at for being less than human were being treated as less than human. But now that you've reached your limit of being near the working class who aren't actively carrying your dry martini on a silver platter, it's time for you to build your social status with your fellow aristocrats. To do this, you're gonna have to capitalize on some of the trends of the time. No, not child labor, we'll get to that later. I'm talking Egyptomania. Napoleon.
Oh no. We're gonna go over the mummy thing, aren't we?
His campaigns in Egypt brought back trade and artifacts to Europe, eventually igniting a craze for all things Egyptian in the West due to its perceived exotic nature. This craze peaked during the Victorian era, and Victorians sure had interesting ways of indulging in this trend, such as hosting mummy parties. Not the Brendan Fraser kind, they weren't.
Unfortunately, that's a great one. I do have that movie. Maybe we should do... Okay.
Weren't that based. Specifically, they held mummy unwrapping parties. Getting your hands on a mummy was the easy part. You could literally cop one from street vendors in Egypt like a pin from Disney World, but unwrapping them required a trained professional called an unroller. Why exactly they had to hire a professional to do some glorified banana peeling is beyond me, but I can only assume that their training involved a significant amount of fruit by the foot. Essentially, a bunch of people would gather round to watch the unroller unwrap the mummy and perform an autopsy, including cutting into the skull to go, "Oh my god, look, he's got a brain, that's crazy." Fragments of the pungent mummy wrappings were then passed throughout the audience for their, pleasure, I guess. What am I supposed to do with this? While today we recognize hosting an unboxing party for corpses and disgracing a people's history is the most optimal way to speedrun a Twitter hashtag, the Victorians just couldn't
Alex is over party, cancel Alex.
help but satisfy their intrigue. And in their defense, they basically came gift wrapped. But if you need any more convincing on how evil this practice was, the most famous unwrapper was a surgeon named Pettigrew. But overall, in the upper class, you won't need to worry all that much about staying.
So they didn't. Okay, so fun fact, I forget what it's called, but the mummies were one of the things that helped mummify the mummies was this, I forget what it is, this thing, I don't know, that if you eat it, it was considered to, like, be good for your health, I guess, and I forgot what it's called. But so they Victorian England basically, like, ate mummies, or, like, they basically kind of powdered them and ate them because they were, like, I'm going to say marinated, and like this stuff that is supposed to be good, like quote unquote medicine, like anti-aging kind of medicine sort of thing. So yeah, that's why we don't have a lot of mummies today, because they ingested them. Just saying, that is a thing. I don't remember what it was that they were trying to get off the mummies. You can look it up. You can Google it. I'm not going to do it because I'm streaming right now. But that is a thing. That is upsetting to think about.
Alive. Except for the arsenic in your walls, lead on your dolls, corsets in your torsos, cyanide in your photos, strychnine in your tablets, explosive bits of plastic, kitchens full of toxins, morphine for your youngins, mercury-coated hats, radiation from your...
Yeah, so fun fact, a lot of rich green quote-unquote dye from the Victorian era was arsenic. So people were getting poisoned because of, and their wallpaper was, a lot of times it wasn't necessarily paper, it was like fabric, but they would do the same thing with their clothing. So if they wanted like a rich green dress or something, it was arsenic. There's a lot of arsenic poisoning. And then uranium glass was a thing. You can also look up the uranium girls, which are women that worked for watchmakers, because uranium was used for the glow-in-the-dark bits on watches. There's a whole lot of things. It's a lot.
Glass, kerosene and hair products, and asbestos in just about everything.
Yep.
Good luck. But what if you aren't lucky enough to live the life of a Victorian Scrooge McDuck, and instead you find yourself living la vida pobre in the working class? Hold off on the booze there, buddy. As tempting of a coping mechanism alcohol is, we gotta make sure you even survive childhood first. Let's put you in a humble family of 7 kids, and shit, 4 of your siblings just died. What? Oh yeah, nearly 60% of working class children died before the age of 5. Good for you, champ, you won the coin toss. I need to lie down. So long as it's in a minor chimney, because it's time for you to get to work. I'm 5 years old. And about time you started contributing to the family, you lazy leech. Without child labor laws, working class kids started working as early as 4 years old. Now pick your poison, chimney sweeping or coal mining. Well, I suppose it's just a 9 to 5. 9 to 5? No. Victorian children were expected to work 12 to 18 hours a day. Gotta beat out that optimism early. Besides, you've only got that small stature for so many years. Companies have to capitalize on your ability.
So they would, at weaving places, like places that made fabric or whatever, they would get very small children that would have to crawl between like the weaving things, and sometimes they would get crushed, but you had to be very small to do that.
To squeeze in the tight spaces while you can. Now, these are still your formative years, so we gotta make sure you choose the child profession that'll cause the least amount of physical and emotional trauma. There were a lot, but let's narrow it down to chimney sweep and coal miner, and weigh some pros and cons. As a coal miner, you can expect some permanent eye damage due to eye strain from the dark environment, respiratory problems from coal dust, permanent spine deformation due to stooping, and of course there was the occasional explosion or cave-in. But on the bright side, you're essentially playing the closest Victorian equivalent to Minecraft. As for chimney sweeps, say goodbye to the skin on your elbows and knees, as that's all getting scraped off. You'll experience some irreversible lung damage from all the soot, and there's a high risk of death from falling or getting stuck in the tight chimneys. But at least you can die happy knowing that when Mary Poppins comes out in 100 years, Dick Van Dyke will forever cement your profession as much cooler than it actually was. So assuming you survive your childhood profession, it's time for the big boy world. Now, I know the idea of living poor in a Victorian city is probably a terrifying concept, but don't worry. The Victorians actually put in some effort to help the poverty-stricken wastes of oxygen, excuse me, less fortunate folk. For example, if you're homeless, you can escape the cold at a penny sit-up, where for the small price of 1 penny, you get to sit on a bench in a shelter for the night. Whoa, now don't get too crazy. You're not allowed to sleep here. What do you think you are, a human? You only paid for the privilege of sitting, and penny sit-ups even had monitors to ensure you didn't fall asleep. If you're looking to catch some Z's, you're gonna have to cough up an extra penny at a 2-penny hangover. Don't get too excited. Contrary to the name suggests, a 2-penny hangover is not a charity dive bar where you can drink yourself into an ethanol-induced coma. Instead, it was a rope that you literally hung over. Not the most comfortable experience, but at least you'll be the coolest kid on campus with your minimalist hammocking setup. The rope was ideal because it allowed the staff to quickly, dispense with all the poor people in the morning. But hey, maybe it was a good day at the factory and you walked out with 4 pennies in your pocket, you little aristocrat you. Well, you can afford to be a high roller and head on over to a 4-penny coffin. Yep. While it may look like you just got shipped back from the Crimean War, a 4-penny coffin was quite the step up from a rope, to be fair. You got to spend the night in a nice coffin.
It's kind of like a bed. This is horrible.
You had a tarp to keep warm, and you even got assigned your own little serial number, which is undoubtedly the...
I don't know why that one's not going off. Weird.
Closest you'll ever get to being acknowledged in your life. Speaking of life, you better get used to this one, as people didn't exactly graduate from social classes, so the only 4 walls you'll likely ever get to call home will be a coffin at best, or a coffin at worst.
You want me to sing, fuck this shit, I'm out? No one is allowed to leave. Hey, I don't know why that's not going off. If you guys remind me, I'll try to turn it off later since it's messed up.
If you can afford it. But on the bright side, if you manage to survive through the era, you'll get to experience many of the following significant discoveries and advancements. America found its second manifest destiny with the discovery of crude oil in 1859. Charles Darwin published his book on the concept of evolution, meaning that in a few centuries we may evolve past thinking crocs are cool. Darwin's half-cousin, Francis Galton, took this research and started modern eugenics. Which led to problems. Alexander Graham Bell patents the telephone in 1876, a device that changed the world by allowing people to learn about their car's extended warranty. Germ theory would become accepted by the end of the Victorian era, and nobody would doubt doctors ever again. The 19th century saw many innovations in data visualization for statistics, which are used today for optimizing shiny Pokemon encounter strategies. The Bessemer process gave us bigger buildings for more people. Modern artillery gave us smaller buildings for less people. Radiation was discovered in 1896, leading the cancer treatment in Imagine Dragons. The Navier-Stokes
Imagine Dragons. Wow. Sounds for Deems might be borked. Yeah, I don't know. I have an ongoing feud with sound alerts randomly because I have an ongoing feud with every piece of technology in my life.
Equations were developed to describe the motion of viscous fluids and weed out chemical engineering students. And Carl Benz builds the world's first car while simultaneously killing the concept of peaceful suburban life. And those are just a few of the significant advancements made during the iconic Victorian era. So, Alex, are you excited for your new Victorian life?
No.
You want to go home and play Elden Ring?
Yes.
Good boy. The Victorian era. Disgusting and deadly, but inspired Bloodborne. 3 out of 10 stars.
3 out of 10 stars. Because of Bloodborne. I mean, yeah. I mean, every era is terrifying. Every era is terrifying. This one would be terrifying to someone 100 years in the future, probably. Like, Jesus. I mean, the expired Bloodborne. Like, don't try to put me in the past. I won't make it. Like, I'm just not gonna make it. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. You couldn't put me in most other countries and expect me to make it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I just... Input required. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to Kitty Kendall. Like, I'm just kind of like, listen, I'm used to this. what I'm experiencing now, and like I don't know if I could do it elsewhere or time. You get me? You understand what I'm saying? You get me. You probably agree. I'm not different. I'm just, I'm weak. I can't go anywhere else. It's fine.